Winter is about to flip a massive switch. And what happens in the next 72 hours will determine if you're stuck at home for days or worse, stranded on a frozen highway with temperatures plunging to minus 50 degrees. A 101-mile-per-hour wind gust just ripped through Montana last night. That's stronger than most hurricanes. And that same storm system is barreling toward the upper Midwest right now with a trifecta of deadly hazards: freezing rain, heavy snow, and winds that could literally blow vehicles off roads. But here's what terrifies meteorologists. In exactly 30 seconds, I'm going to show you why the ice accumulation from this storm is more dangerous than the snow, and which single factor makes Thursday morning potentially the most life-threatening weather event of the entire winter. Right now, at this very moment, a potent winter storm is carving a destructive path through the upper Midwest. This isn't a typical winter system. This is a multi-hazard monster that's bringing everything at once. Freezing rain that turns highways into ice rinks, heavy snow falling at 2 inches per hour, and winds gusting to 70 miles per hour. The experimental winter storms outlook highlights a large slight risk area stretching from Grand Forks and Fargo all the way down to Green Bay. That's North Dakota through Minnesota and Wisconsin. Millions of people in the crosshairs of a quick-hitting and extremely dangerous winter storm happening right now. Tomorrow, this system shifts east and southeast. A second large slight risk area covers Michigan all the way into the interior northeast. Places like Utica and Albany up through Maine face significant winter weather impacts today and tomorrow. Here's the ice danger I promised, and this is critical. Around noon today, Central Time, rain switches over to snow in Fargo and Grand Forks. But look at all this pink and orange on the radar. That's sleet and freezing rain. And there's a substantial icing potential with this storm. Some places will end up with a 1/4 inch of ice. A 1/4 inch might not sound like much, but it's enough to snap power lines. It's enough to make roads completely impassable. It's enough to trap people in their homes for days. Combined with the snow and very strong winds, we're looking at intermittent power outages across a huge area. Around 5 p.m. today, a massive burst of heavy snow moves into Minneapolis and Duluth. Remember, this system is moving fast. The snow won't be falling exceptionally hard compared to other storms these cities have seen, but it's going to accumulate incredibly quickly. 2 inches per hour snowfall rates in some locations. Here's the first major twist: the dramatic temperature change happening with this system. Minneapolis starts with rain, but by midnight tonight, temperatures crash into the 20s and teens. A flash freeze event unfolds. Everything that was wet becomes ice instantly. Roads transform from merely slippery to completely impassable in minutes. There are so many aspects of this storm that make it impactful beyond just the snow. Heavy snow hits Detroit tomorrow morning around 2 a.m. That could cause intermittent heavy snow in Cleveland too. Toronto, Buffalo, and New York definitely see heavy snow. The heaviest snow likely arrives around 10 a.m. tomorrow. Heavy snow spreads across Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine tomorrow afternoon and evening. As the low-pressure system moves east, the lake-effect snow machines turn on. Decent bands develop off the lakes, especially in Michigan. By the time this finishes, a couple locations in Michigan will have very significant snow accumulation. This also triggers a snow squall outbreak in the Ohio Valley. Get ready tomorrow afternoon and evening. Blinding snow squalls rip through Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and especially West Virginia, right up against those mountains. These aren't gentle snow showers. These are intense bursts of heavy snow with near zero visibility. Don't miss what I'm about to reveal at the 5-minute mark. Because the snow accumulation isn't even the main story here. Nobody's really getting a ton of snow from this system. Like I mentioned, Michigan will see a couple places end up with more than a foot thanks to lake effect. But most people see 4 to 8 inches outside the main snow swath. Many areas only get an inch or two. The big story? This storm is so powerful, it brings potentially hurricane-force wind gusts to the northern plains as cold air rushes in. Average wind gusts probably hit 50 to 60 miles per hour. But a few locations might see 70-mile-per-hour winds as that cold air floods south behind the storm. That 101-mile-per-hour wind gust in Montana last night, that was associated with this system. That's not a typo. 101 miles per hour. That's a Category 2 hurricane in Montana in December. Widespread 40 to 60-mile-per-hour winds sweep across Iowa Wednesday morning. That strong wind continues diving south into the Ohio Valley. Widespread 20 to 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts accompany those snow squalls. A truly interesting and dynamic storm system about to hammer the upper Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and Northeast. Once again, snow is not the main story. Some places in northern Minnesota might get 6 inches. That's not insignificant, but it's not terribly significant either. A few locations in Wisconsin also see 6 inches. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan gets a broad 4 to 8 inches. Lower Michigan has a couple places likely seeing over 6 inches, and that doesn't include the lake effect snow. Southern Lower Michigan might see significant accumulation too. It's hit or miss in the interior Northeast. Widespread 2 to 4 inches possible, with a couple pockets seeing more than 6 inches, especially near Watertown where lake effect kicks in. Some pockets could see 13 inches. What comes after the snow? More brutally cold temperatures. Let's examine actual surface temperatures heading into the weekend. This is where things get genuinely dangerous. Thursday morning brings bitter cold temperatures all the way down into Kentucky, where readings hit the mid-20s. That's without wind factored in. Upper teens in Pennsylvania, low teens down to 10 degrees in upstate New York. Much of Michigan sits in the teens. Wisconsin and Minnesota, -5 to -15 degrees, potentially near Minneapolis early Thursday morning. And remember, that's without wind. Around this time, we're also dealing with 20 to 40-mile-per-hour winds on top of these temperatures. Wind chills drop to -50 degrees in some locations. We're talking about life-threatening cold Thursday morning. Exposed skin freezes in minutes. Frostbite becomes almost instant. Does it improve Friday? It actually gets slightly better Friday. But check this out. Another massive area of cold air is locked and loaded. It descends on the upper Midwest, northern plains, Ohio Valley, and Great Lakes region going into Sunday. Sunday morning, actual surface temperatures in northern Minnesota might hit -24 degrees. That is insanely cold. -10 near Davenport, Iowa. Below 0 in Indianapolis. And that's not wind chill. That's real actual temperature. Cold air continues dipping south. This is a pattern we're stuck in for a while. Below freezing temperatures reach all the way to the Gulf Coast Monday morning. We might get a brief break early next week, but the overall cold pattern keeps sticking around. We cannot shake this pattern, especially across the northern United States. While tracking these clipper systems and all this cold air across the northern and eastern United States, we're simultaneously dealing with a historic atmospheric river in the Pacific Northwest. Massive amounts of warm air funnel up against the Cascades in the western United States. This causes tremendous flooding problems and snow at higher elevations. This morning brought water rescues in Oregon due to excessive rainfall. The bullseye sits over western Washington, Oregon, and the Idaho Panhandle. This isn't standard winter rain. This is one of those rare, statistically historic storms causing massive problems for countless people. If you're not prepared yet, the worst hits tonight into tomorrow. Get ready for mudslides. Avalanches are a huge problem. Snowmelt at high elevations compounds the danger because warm air reaches higher than normal for this time of year. Add 4 to 8 inches of rain in some places, and it's an absolute mess in the Pacific Northwest. If you live near a river or burn scar in the Pacific Northwest, have a go bag ready right now. Conditions change rapidly. Rock slides present very real danger at this moment. Some locations could see 4 to 10 inches of rain. This happens in waves. We're in the thick of it now. Heaviest precipitation probably starts tapering Thursday afternoon. Then we get a brief break. Looking ahead, the pattern continues locking into classic winter configuration through mid-December. Cold in the east, warm in the west. No significant changes in the near future. Keep that jacket ready in the east. Keep enjoying warm temperatures in the southwest. Unfortunately, as this ridge stays in place, more atmospheric river events likely hit the top of that ridge in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. Be prepared for repeated flooding events. We're also tracking a G3 geomagnetic storm hitting Earth today into tonight. The unfortunate reality? Pretty much everywhere you could potentially see aurora is completely covered with clouds and rain. Washington, Maine, northern Minnesota. These are the places where during a G3 storm you might see auroras. But we're dealing with snow and cloud cover. Viewing opportunities look limited, but space weather activity continues over the next 48 hours. Let me break down exactly what you need to know to survive the next week. The timeline is critical. The hazards compound on each other. Each phase brings new dangers. Today through tonight, the multi-hazard winter storm impacts the upper Midwest. Freezing rain creates ice accumulations up to a quarter inch. Roads become skating rinks. Snow falls at 2 inches per hour in bursts. Winds gust to 70 miles per hour. Power lines snap. Travel becomes impossible. The flash freeze tonight represents extreme danger. Everything wet becomes ice. Bridges and overpasses freeze first. Black ice forms invisibly, cars lose control, accidents multiply. Tomorrow morning, heavy snow hits the Great Lakes and Northeast. Detroit sees the worst around 2 a.m. Buffalo and Toronto get hammered by 10 a.m. Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine see heavy snow through the afternoon and evening. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, snow squall outbreak devastates the Ohio Valley. These aren't normal snow showers. Visibility drops to 0 in seconds. Highways become parking lots. Whiteout conditions appear without warning. Multiple vehicle pileups become likely. Lake effect snow bands set up and persist. Michigan gets buried. Some locations see over a foot. Watertown, New York could see 13 inches from lake effect alone. These bands don't move. They just sit and dump snow on the same locations, hour after hour. Thursday morning brings the most dangerous conditions of the entire event. Life-threatening cold arrives. Minus 50-degree wind chills spread across the upper Midwest. Exposed skin freezes in 5 minutes or less. Cars won't start. Pipes burst. People die from exposure if caught outside. Friday offers slight improvement but remains dangerous. Then Sunday delivers another punch. Minus 24-degree actual temperatures in northern Minnesota, minus 10 in Iowa, below 0 in Indianapolis. This isn't wind chill, this is thermometer reading. Monday morning, freezing temperatures extend to the Gulf Coast. The cold pattern shows no signs of breaking. Week after week of below-average temperatures dominate the eastern half of the country. The compound nature of these hazards creates particularly challenging conditions. It's not one thing, it's everything simultaneously. Ice, snow, wind, cold, flash freeze, snow squalls, lake effect. Each hazard feeds into others. The ice accumulation tonight deserves special emphasis. Quarter-inch ice sounds modest. It's catastrophic. Power lines can't handle that weight, especially with 70-mile-per-hour winds. Lines snap. Transformers explode. Entire regions lose power. Without power in minus 50-degree wind chills, homes become uninhabitable in hours. Pipes freeze and burst. Carbon monoxide deaths spike as people run generators improperly. Hypothermia claims victims who thought they could tough it out. The flash freeze creates invisible death traps. You drive on wet pavement at dusk. By the time you return after dark, that same pavement is sheet ice. Your tires find no traction. You slide helplessly. Other drivers have the same experience. Multi-car pileups become inevitable. Snow squalls tomorrow afternoon represent another extreme danger. These develop rapidly. You're driving in light snow. Suddenly you enter a squall. Visibility drops from half a mile to 10 feet in seconds. You can't see the car ahead. You can't see lane markers. You can't see anything. Smart drivers pull completely off the road during snow squalls. Not onto the shoulder, completely off. Because drivers behind you can't see you. They rear-end you at highway speed. Pileups of 50, 60, even 100 vehicles happen in snow squalls. Lake effect snow creates its own unique hazards. It's incredibly localized. You drive through sunshine, 5 miles later, you're in a complete whiteout. No transition, no warning. Just instant zero visibility. Lake effect snow is also very heavy. Wet, dense snow that breaks snowblowers, that collapses roofs, that strains infrastructure. The wind component makes everything worse. 70-mile-per-hour gusts don't just blow snow around. They blow vehicles off roads. They topple semis. They turn debris into projectiles. That 101-mile-per-hour gust in Montana demonstrates what this system can do. Hurricane-force winds in the middle of winter. The cold arriving Thursday morning isn't just uncomfortable. It's deadly. Minus 50-degree wind chills kill. Period. Frostbite in 5 minutes. Hypothermia in 30. People who venture outside unprepared don't come back. Every winter, this cold kills people who underestimate it. Pipes burst at these temperatures. Water expands when it freezes. Pipes crack. When temperatures rise, water floods homes. Thousands of dollars in damage. Insurance claims skyrocket. Plumbers can't keep up with demand. Car batteries fail. Even new batteries struggle below minus 20 degrees. Older batteries simply die. People stranded in parking lots, in driveways, on roads, stranded in minus 50-degree wind chills equals life-threatening emergency. The pattern lock concerns long-range planners. This isn't a 3-day cold snap. This is a sustained pattern that persists through mid-December at minimum, wave after wave of cold air, clipper after clipper bringing snow, no moderation in sight. The atmospheric river in the Pacific Northwest adds another layer of complexity. Historic rainfall totals, 4 to 10 inches in the bullseye, rivers rise rapidly, mudslides trigger without warning, avalanches roar down mountainsides. Burn scars from previous wildfires can't absorb water. Flash flooding develops. Water rescues already underway this morning demonstrate the severity. People trapped in homes, cars swept off roads, rescuers risking their lives to save others, and the worst hasn't even hit yet. Tonight into tomorrow brings peak intensity. The geomagnetic storm adds space weather to the mix. G3 storms can disrupt GPS, can affect power grids already stressed by winter storms, can cause communication problems. It's another variable in an already complex situation. Preparation separates survivors from victims. You can't control the weather. You can control your response. Stock supplies now, fill gas tanks today, check antifreeze levels, test batteries, locate flashlights, buy extra food. Ensure adequate heat sources. Have backup plans. If power fails, where do you go? How long can you survive without heat? Do you have enough food and water? Is your vehicle winterized? Do you have emergency supplies in your car? Check on vulnerable people, elderly neighbors, people with medical conditions, those without adequate heat. A wellness check could save a life. A ride to a warming shelter could prevent tragedy. Know the signs of frostbite and hypothermia, white or grayish skin, numbness, confusion, slurred speech. These symptoms require immediate medical attention. In minus 50-degree wind chills, these conditions develop rapidly. Avoid travel during the worst conditions. No job is worth dying for. No appointment is worth risking your life. Stay home when conditions deteriorate. If you must travel, tell someone your route and expected arrival time. The economic impact will be substantial. Snow removal costs, salt and sand supplies depleting, overtime for road crews, power restoration expenses, lost productivity, closed businesses, canceled flights. The price tag climbs into hundreds of millions. Agriculture takes a hit. Livestock need protection. Water sources freeze. Animals die from exposure. Farmers face enormous challenges. The cold penetrates deep. Spring planting could be affected by frozen ground persisting longer than normal. School closures spread across affected regions, not just for snow, for cold, for ice, for dangerous travel conditions. Parents need backup childcare plans. Remote learning returns in some districts. Healthcare systems strain under pressure. Slip and fall injuries from ice, car accident victims, frostbite cases, hypothermia patients, carbon monoxide poisoning, heart attacks from snow shoveling. Emergency rooms overflow. The pattern beyond mid-December remains uncertain. Some models suggest moderation, others show continued cold. Christmas week weather hangs in the balance. Holiday travel plans face potential disruption. But for the next 7 to 10 days, the pattern is locked. Cold dominates, snow accumulates, ice forms, wind howls, travel ranges from difficult to impossible, power outages occur. People suffer. Some don't survive. This isn't fear-mongering. This is reality. Multiple hazard winter events kill people every year. People who thought they could handle it. People who underestimated conditions. People who didn't prepare. You're now armed with information. You know what's coming. You know when it's coming. You know how severe it will be. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you prepare? Will you stock supplies? Will you avoid unnecessary travel? Will you check on vulnerable neighbors? Will you respect the power of these conditions? Or will you ignore warnings? Will you venture out unprepared? Will you assume you can handle it? Will you become a statistic? The choice is yours. But choose wisely. Because this weather doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care about your experience. It doesn't care about your confidence. It only cares about physics, temperature, wind, precipitation, ice formation, heat loss. The next 72 hours will test millions of Americans. The upper Midwest faces the brunt, the Great Lakes region gets hammered, the Northeast sees significant impacts, the Ohio Valley deals with snow squalls, the Pacific Northwest battles historic flooding. Multiple regions, multiple hazards, all happening simultaneously, all requiring different responses, all demanding respect and preparation. Stay tuned for updates. This system evolves rapidly. Forecast details change. Impact areas shift. New hazards emerge. Continuous monitoring matters. Tomorrow's update will track the system's eastward progression. We'll verify snow totals. We'll assess ice damage. We'll monitor the flash freeze. We'll track those dangerous snow squalls. Thursday's update focuses on the life-threatening cold. We'll show you where wind chills drop lowest. We'll identify the most dangerous areas. We'll report on impacts. We'll share survival information. This weekend, we'll analyze the next cold blast arriving Sunday. We'll examine the persistent pattern. We'll look ahead to next week. We'll discuss any signs of pattern change because the atmosphere always has more to throw at us. Systems keep developing, cold air keeps invading, snow keeps falling, ice keeps forming, wind keeps blowing. Winter has flipped the switch. The season is on. The pattern is locked. The hazards are real. The danger is imminent. Until next time, stay safe, stay warm, stay off the roads when conditions deteriorate, and stay informed. Your life might depend on it.